And next, what I'm trying to do is to compositing the background. And also what I'm did is I render another lighting setting, which is had a much um, had more lighting on the side, and I use it to compositing my scene too. Using, as you can see, I am using mask to erasing the part that I feel like I wanted to have the lighting to lighting some part, just try to do indicating some of the, a very subtle like the sunlight casting in this, and it could dramatically make this scene looks a lot more complicated. But of course, we don't want it to be over complicated for sure. It's still we need to pay attention about something like we know previously, right? Like such as composition, linear perspective, overlapping, midground, foreground, background. Sorry, foreground, midground, background. That's still something we need to pay attention to it. And yeah, so yeah, I think this slide bring us to kind of giving us some kind of highlight to point out the midground, those ruin slash some kind of man-made structure. I think they are kind of important. And also now we needed to I am trying to do creating the sky, which is it is a sky. I'm going to just using sky to replace our our sky, the pre-made the previous render from Blender, which is just some color, and now I using the sky to bring back some of the information such as cloud. For sure it's going to be a very important aspect for our composition. And also I going to using this mountain to adding another layer of complexity of in our scene. But of course later I decided to just render some 3D mountain and then more ruin in the background. But yeah, I kind of didn't including that in my tutorial, but you can see in my final image. Yeah, so sorry I kind of forgot to recording those things, but I am following exactly the same rule that I talked about previously. Just try to increasing the overlapping and the layering effect to giving you the feeling like, okay, man, this is such a huge space, just bunch of things, they just overlapping each other like non-stoply, you know. Um, that's really what I'm trying to do, just things overlapping with things and creating this kind of just non-stoply layering, like like cake or like onion, if you are just like Shrek, right? Just infinite amount of onion, sorry, an infinite of amount of layer. And yeah, right now I just doing something here and there and just try to see is our separation of are good enough, to giving us the feeling of just nice gradients between foreground, midground, and background. That's sorry to mumbling those kind of things again, but they are really my life saving. It's really the something I wanted to do. And right now I try to bring back some of the value in the midground to let them to join the dark value in the foreground. Just just try to organize our scene better. I tried looking for a proper solution to choosing certain shape join the foreground, and in order to creating a better, basically a grouping, value grouping. And I see there's a pretty interesting shape such as this flower, and later on I will bring back the shape with just painting fog. Right now they are kind of merged together, but I think overall sometimes we needed to just very sadly to get rid of some information, some contract, in order to increasing our composition, to be more effective. And yeah, there's a weird edge here and there for sure. And just well, I just creating another layer and I using darken blending mode and just painting manually. And yeah, it's not a very settled way to do it, but it is doable. It's well, I tell this point, I kind of happy about the result, but at the same time, I know I'm still not there yet. I know there's a many things I need to tweak it and I need to do adjusting. So I try to not spend too much time to do create, just to do a really decent pen over. But of course, usually what I would do is, well, not that what I do, but the situation I will bump into, which is I spend too much. When the moment I really get everything settled down, and I have a decent amount of time to painting, I kind of run out of energy, and I decide to not painting at all. Just uh, well, but yeah, at least we have fun, right? So at least we can enjoy this journey. Um, yeah, I'm trying to creating a little fog between mountain and the sky to try to create a kind of lazy simulation separation between those layers, kind of like some kind of lighting, lighten the from the distance on the background. And yeah, now we can start to painting the fog. Just have fun with the fog, to using the fog to separation the foreground and the background. And yeah, I tweak some blending mode, but later on I decided just not to do it, and I using mist pass. And of course, again, I'm repeat myself again, which is I using mist pass to go to the channel and right click the RGB channel, and we got a solution, and we're using the solution to generating a mask for our group. Man, it's just so big complicated with verbally speaking this kind of thing. Oh well, anyway, I tried to creating an area that I wish our my fog is only in the uh behind the foreground, which is kind of a nice overlapping, another layer of overlapping our overlapping system to serving our composition. As you can see, it can block also it very conveniently it can block a lot of weird things in our environment. So that's also pretty handy. Previously I was thinking about, man, I needed to pen over some a lot of plant and a lot of nature things to make those thing more nature. Well, but with fog, I just, well, I cover it all. I just, well, I can leave it. Now I just make those fog more settled because I feel like maybe separation is kind of too strong. But who knows? We when I adjusting the fog and the atmosphere according to the you know relate along with the time, I may go back to bring the opacity of the fog back. And yeah, I started adding another fog to in the I think it's going to be in the behind the background. So basically, uh, adding fog is really not the purpose is adding fog is really not to adding the fog, is by it is the goal of adding fog is to overlapping and showing the something behind, sorry, not behind, in front of fog, to make it more strong. It's like you push someone into the stage. Imagine that's the fog, the purpose or the function of the fog. That's the something I think for me is like this the first priority comes to the adding the fog, which is increasing the feeling of layering, the overlapping feeling. But of course, there's a secondary aspect where we are adding fog, because fog is just such a nice element, creating another layer of contrast between shape and form. Because it is nature, well rounded, sort of rounded, right? And it's hard to predict, and it very looks like pretty dynamic. But the other things is it's hard to finding another element. It's such a dynamic and hard to describe, like fog. So it's a very interesting contract for sure. But like I said, this kind of secondary things I think, and also very importantly, my personally favorite is the fact going to cover a lot of details, so I can leave it and without to pending, do a lot of pen over later, or adding too many photo batch if I, so that's something I like a lot. Thank you, Fuck. And yeah, and I think with this Fuck, I really creating a kind of interesting settle, layering, overlapping feeling, and with the nice value grouping, which is bring us really nice feeling of foreground, midground, and background. So yeah, I guess I try to do increasing the lighting of the the atmosphere perspective of the background, and I really want to bring back some of the saturated, more saturated grass color, because I feel like this thing actually should be it's bright, pretty bright because it's daylight, right? And also it's a nice saturation, the contrast between color and hue, and the between the foreground is really blue, and our background if could be much more warm green yellow. It's nice contrast, but of course we don't want too much because there's a certain of amount of limit of the contrast between color and saturation. For example, if your picture is dominated by blue, then yes, you can add in yellow in this picture in order to make it more vivid and more contrast. You can basically they are like complementary color. I think it is this word complementary color, but we don't want to making really strong complementary color. Otherwise, we'll make the lighting or you make your scene look super saturated. And yeah, and next, what I'm trying to do is a pen over. It is something. So yeah, just basically try to use pen over to fix some problem. For example, like here, yeah, as you remember, this is a 2D asset, so it kind of had a lot of weird edges. It's not really the real IV the wrapping around the pillar, the ruin. So it's just it could be there are a lot of weird thing, but as you can see later on, we can pen over to fix those problems. So it is uh well, I think this workflow can helping us to make the balance between generating some image and keep the efficiency. But of course, for sure you can replace those texture and also low poly geometry into something much high quality and more refined. So you can save your time to not to do this. But personally, I think pen over is quite interesting, of course. But of course, I'm not a big painter. I'm not really that much good at painting things. And I think the better way to do this actually is just to finding the good picture. Oh, sorry, it's good photo pictures, good photos to replace it. And if you want to pen, you can using your painting skill to organize those picture texture. And really, the worst thing is to do is just kind of like what I'm doing right now. It's like I am like I previously saying, I'm not a really good painter. I don't have a much experience or visual very big visual library in my head. So actually, I kind of not 100% sure how to painting a lot of things. So right now I'm just kind of doing a Scrabble here and there, like. But it's still it's not bad, because we are organize our shape and form with our own understanding. So it's maybe it's not bad, but of course now I kind of do a lot bad thing, because I make this statue looks like laughing, and then later on I notice it's laughing. I make it just how I don't know what to say. He looks like he start from some scary statue becoming kind of like a regular dude. Like it totally, I totally ruined the energy. And later on, I noticed, man, what I'm doing. And I try to make it look more angry, but in the end, just make it just kind of like a regular dude with nice day. Okay, now it looks like regular dude have bad days, but it's just okay. This is not working. This is not working at all. I decided to just delete it. Sorry to make you. Sorry I waste your time to look the mistake I did made. just it's just funny, I did, and later I decided to just try to keep that original energy. I just have to admit I'm not a good painter. I apologize for that. But even I'm not a good painter, I can notice there's some weird things in here and there. So I just paint over, try to fix. But actually, there's a lot of weird things happen on this guy's hand. But man, painting a hand is just such difficult things, and I decided not to do it though. I mean, this why I force you guys to watch this. I'm not a good painter. I'm not good at doing this. I'm just I'm doing nonsense gibberish here. So if you really not enjoy I mean, you can just jump into to see something really makes sense to you. So basically, what I'm trying to do is just fix the edge, fix some shape and form to creating some more to sometimes painting some lights, which is kind of crappy, and creating some subsurface scatter effect, which is kind of crappy too. I didn't. Well, I should, the proper way to do this is like to actually just, to render in the 3D and then compositing back. But I'm just being too lazy to do this. So, yeah. Well, the flower and something is I try to do adding the saturation to adding more saturation, and now I try to creating some halo. And now we're going to the our final post effect creation, which is I creating a 380 and 3,840, which is well anyway, it's a 4K resolution canvas. So I compress our 6K image into the 4K image, so it can merge some detail. And I use adding some Gaussian blur to creating a halo, and using mask to bring back some halo. And I forgot something. What I would do is which is I will adding Gaussian blur in the our original render, but it's not very much. I'm going to adding 0.2. Then I'm going to bring back to it and replace it. And oh, I forgot something. It's smart layer. So when you're updating, it will automatically when you do something changing, it will automatically updating on back to our file. So yeah, more Gaussian blur, but just slightly. And I'm going to do something which is my personal taste, which is I'm going to adding a noise and using soft light blending mode, and now increasing the size, reduce the opacity, reduce the saturation, and then bring a little bit photo texture on our picture. And yeah, oh yeah, I forgot something such as turn on the fog. I forgot it, and also pen over on our body, because I think now his clothes is a bit like plastic, so I try to make it well less looks like plastic, and again it's just my crappy pen over. And yeah, I kind of don't want to force you guys to see more of my pen over, my crappy fake pen over, and I wanted to tweak tattoo on his hand, and yeah, I think this kind of like some kind of jujitsu. Uh, I kind of forget how. I don't know how. I kind of not sure how to pronounce the name, the animation name. The English version. Uh, back with jujitsu something. I kind of forget about this. This tattoo kind of remind me like that. I had something in my head. Basically some cross section to helping the audience feel the three-dimensional form of organic shape. So yeah, I'm updating back to our thing, and I think that's pretty much the well this chapter. And in next chapter, I will going to start creating another picture for our fantasy scene, fantasy environment concept art. And see you soon.